what this is all about. This is really a meeting to inform you. I hope to encourage you by what is going on in the ministry here at West Pines. This is probably the strangest mid-year meeting that we've ever had, because ministry has not been the same in 2020. But know that we're here to encourage you, to inform you, and honestly, we also have an agenda of wanting to encourage you to get plugged in. You will hear about ministries, whether in the past or things that we're looking forward to, that we need help. And there's always a need for resources in a church like this. And there are financial resources and there's human resources. And we need both to have a ministry like West Pines. And so you're going to hear about that. And if you hear of a ministry, I didn't ever know they really did something like that. Maybe God will even use this ministry and this meeting to encourage you to get plugged in to something new. The batting order leading off, playing shortstop, is Ginger Meisner. Ginger is really excited about this, and she loves public speaking, and as you can tell. So appreciate Ginger and what she's doing in our children's ministries. This has not been an easy time for children's ministry. Let me just share this. The most hesitant group to return to church was not our seniors. It was families with children. And so the challenge has been real for Ginger, and I think she's done an outstanding job in doing everything we could, going all the way back, working through April, May, June, July, to what we can do with children's ministry. So Ginger, just share with us.
Children's ministry in April and May. I concentrated on ordering everything for VBS. Still very encouraged that we were still having VBS in July, so I got the curriculum together as well as all of the crafts. It's all ready, but we didn't have it. So it's ready for next year. We put the children's worship video and activity sheets from their weekly lessons on our website so that the kids could have church at home as well as the adults. We are still doing that for the families who have not come back yet. In June, we reopened the children's worship with new protocols. We now have bags for each child each week with crayons and pencils and their activity pages so that there's no sharing. Everyone wears a mask. They're required to do extra hand washing and to use the hand sanitizers. It started out in June with only 4 kids the first Sunday. Today, amazingly enough, we had 10 kids in the toddler nursery room, and between the 3 older kids' classrooms, we had 32. Also at the end of June, with Brody and Jeannie, we had a wonderful kids' worship night that went extremely well. We had 28 kids, lots of worship music, and VeggieTales movie and the gospel. In July, we had a fun sports night with Caleb and the teens with kickball with a gigantic ball, soccer drills, water balloons, and a Bible lesson. At the end of July, the last week was our soccer camp. We actually averaged 30 kids per night. September starts Awana, September 9th, Awana and Kids on Mission. Last week we had our first new leader meeting and we had 6 new leaders. I was very encouraged by all the phone calls and calling all of the old leaders from last year and how many are coming back. So we have about 85% of our leaders from last year coming back. We will be using all of the West Wing now to spread out Sparkies so that they will be social distance. We're putting more tables in the auditorium for Kids on Missions so that they will be social distance. Everyone will be required to wear a mask. So please pray for our Awana this year, and that's it. Thanks.
Let me brag on West Pines just for a minute. I know several churches, I'm talking more than a handful of churches in Palm Beach County that normally have Awana that are not doing Awana. And the number one reason they are not doing Awana is because they don't have enough leaders. And when Ginger started calling, we were kind of like, okay, is this going to happen? And it was so overwhelmingly positive that the leaders wanted to come out, certainly cautious and wanted to know about the protocol, but are willing to serve our kids. And let me segue that into a commercial. We may be inundated with new kids because there are so many churches that aren't having Awana, but they love the Awana program. And so if God, Holy Spirit, or Pastor Paul puts it on your heart, we may need some help, and Ginger may be calling you.
Okay, well, I'm just going to talk to you about a very interesting opening of 2020 as far as worship and music here at West Pines. I know you all were watching from home, but I got to tell you, it was so weird being in here leading worship to an empty room. It was very, very strange, and I didn't like it at all. I really didn't. I really value the feedback of the body of Christ, hearing you all sing and seeing you worship. So that was hard. It was hard to be in here leading worship. But I am so thankful for a worship team that just came and did it. In the midst of a virus, they were putting themselves on the line, and they did it. So, and even now, we have churches that are not open, and you see all these folks up on stage coming and leading worship. And we're very blessed to have the team that we have come and lead worship every Sunday, and I'm thankful for all of them. We kind of got creative with outdoor worship in the parking lot, and we had an FM transmitter and all kinds of cool stuff going on. So some neat technology paved the way for that. But nothing beats this. Nothing beats worshiping together as a team. So I'm so glad that we're getting back to how church should be. I'm thankful for that. The choir had an awesome musical ready to go for April 1st, and then it didn't happen. But it's still ready to go. So you'll start hearing those songs here hopefully in September, when we feel like it's safe to get back together as a choir, a socially distant choir. We're going to get that going again and sing some of those songs that we had ready for Easter. You'll be hearing those in the fall. So look for choir to reopen here real soon. And if you want to come back and join the choir, that would be awesome to have your face in the choir loft. Did I miss anything? As far as the technology today, very frustrating that I got here this morning and the internet was completely down. And I called Comcast and they couldn't do anything until tomorrow morning. I felt like it was all these people watching from home were left in the dark today, and it wasn't Pastor Paul pulling the plug. It was definitely Comcast. But we'll get back up running for next week and hopefully have our stream live again. But again, thankful for you all here, and I hope to see more of this as we progress through the fall to have more and more people back in the building and worshiping as a fellowship of believers. Thank you very much.
All right, well, one of the highlights as far as youth group and missions goes in 2020 has been the fact that ministry hasn't stopped. Ministry changed, ministry was different, ministry didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like, but ministry didn't stop. And for that, we praise God that He's been continuing to work throughout this time. Some things for youth group. We met on Zoom for about 2 months as the pandemic first hit, and surprisingly we had a lot of kids who have never really interacted with our ministry before who started interacting with our ministry. And so hopefully that continues to, they will keep coming and reconnect, this fall. But definitely we went through 1 Thessalonians during that time. And then during the summer, we started meeting in person. We did a lot of events outside. We took a small group of high school students to the Caldwell's Cabin in Blue Ridge, Georgia. And that was a really awesome time of digging deep into God's Word and really connecting with each other, getting to know each other more deeply, and also having a lot of fun, minus a couple bus issues on the way home. But that was really exciting. And then we are starting back up this Wednesday with a back-to-school bash. It's going to be a big kind of party thing. We're trying to get the students out. This Wednesday night, we'll have kind of like the inflatables and food and all that, but outside. And then the following Wednesday is going to be our regular pursuit, where we have small groups. We have an awesome group of adult leaders who are going to be helping with the youth group, and we're getting ready for that, who are ready to pour into kids and make disciples, and so we're excited about the fall. As far as missions goes, a couple highlights. Penny Fetters, I don't know is Penny in here? I haven't seen her tonight, but Penny Fetters, one of the members of our church, she was approved by a missions agency called Literary Evangelism International, LEI, and so she has started working with them, and basically they help with language learning and teaching people how to read and write their own language, with the goal of evangelizing them and helping them read the Bible and read the gospel in their own language. And so she had some plans that were disrupted because of the virus, but nonetheless has done online stuff and is working with them. And so we're just really excited about the work that she's doing. And then the Hillikers, Jason and Holly, they are currently in North Carolina, and they are there for a month. This whole month they've been doing training, cultural training, security training, and preparation to go to the mission field in Asia. And I just spoke with them the other day, and they just wanted, I just want to ask them, hey, is there anything you want us to pray for? And other than the craziness of dealing with kids and sicknesses and all sorts of stuff in North Carolina, they wanted to pray that, the Lord would open up opportunities for them to actually go over. They need to do one trip, kind of like before they actually move there. They need to go there so that they can secure their visas, as well as secure jobs, and they're going to take their oldest, Michael and Natalia, there as well. So just be praying for them. Don't forget about them. I know this virus has been hard for us here in the States, but it has been very difficult for the entire world, including missionaries. So don't forget about them. Be praying for them, and we're excited what God has in store for them as well.
All right, so we started out strong, took a group to Passion in Atlanta, Georgia, and we worshiped alongside of 65,000 other young adults, and it was amazing. It was awesome. We were excited for 2020 and what God had in store for 2020, and we're still waiting. We went from Passion Conference to I led the We Are the Church, and so that was an awesome opportunity for over 200 of us to go out into the community and serve the community. It was the first time ever we actually went to Buttonwood Park, which was awesome. It's a great park for us because it's so close to here, and we had several conversations with people who are just playing basketball, playing soccer over there, and just to tell them who we are and what we're all about. After We're the Church, I led a group to Guatemala, and while we were in Guatemala, my wife called and asked me, is there a hurricane coming? Because I'm at Costco and there is no toilet paper. I can't find any toilet paper, and she wanted to know if there was a hurricane coming in March. And we were the last group to go to Guatemala with World Help and Hope of Life. And so there has not been a group since. I was informed by Donna this week, actually, that there has not been any more groups going to Guatemala. Some things that I have done during COVID is I've become a Zoom master through several Zoom webinars. And as an Enneagram 5, I wanted to be able to master this Zoom thing. And so I spent a lot of time just learning the ins and outs of Zoom, and I learned that I don't like it. And so I'm a Zoom master. I learned where to buy toilet paper and masks in bulk, where to buy it and when to buy it. Your timing is important, and so not just where to buy it, but when to buy it, you get a good deal. I also learned how to make surface cleaner and hand sanitizer. If you have cuts in your hand, don't use this one. I just did, and it legitimately hurt me. So, but I was kind of forced to learn how to make this. If you're wondering, 66% alcohol, 33% aloe. I'm still not sure if it works. And so that's another thing that I got to do during COVID. Something that we have been doing really this entire time is we do group workouts. Sam used to come, she no longer attends, but every single Thursday at 6 o'clock, and we never stopped because of COVID. There's about 10 to 12 of us that work out, just doing a group workout. And it's just a great way to just keep fellowship going, even in the middle of this pandemic. Last night, we hosted over 30 families on the back field, which was awesome. 30 families came out for a cookout. We had the bounce houses out. We played some kickball and wiffle ball. And that was a really cool thing just to see families getting together that I have not seen for the last 6 or 7 months. This September 12th, we're going to be hosting a marriage seminar. October 3rd, mark your calendars. We're going to be having a movie night, Call the Wild, out there on the back field. So Saturday night, October 3rd, make sure that you are there for that. We'll have the Chick-fil-A food truck out there for that. We've got men's and women's small groups starting up. The Point is starting up this Tuesday night, so we're excited about that. Having a worship night on Tuesday night. The men's retreat is still going forward, so we're excited about that. Pastor Jose, my brother-in-law, is actually going to be the speaker for that weekend. And we are also planning a young adults retreat to North Carolina January 29th. And so those are the things that we've been doing and what we're going to be doing.
Thank you, Jordan. I know you guys already know this, but I'll say it anyway. You are blessed with your pastors and your church leadership. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about the team. I can't tell you how many churches that just, once this thing hit, it was vacation time. And we, as soon as it hit, said, okay, there are some things that we want to do around here. And because of your giving over the past 3 years of harvest, we had accumulated a pretty big amount of money. And so we all put on our general contractor hats, and we got a lot done around here that needed to be done. April, we celebrated, without you, our 20th year in this building. And because of that 20 years, it has taken some bumps and bruises along the way. And again, I am so grateful for our staff that was here. And as we were, again, trying to navigate through virtual church, that was not easy. I remember initially we were up in my office around a round table, and I had my Equate hand sanitizer. And we tried to present truth, and then we had a Thursday night and we taped it, and then we would go outside and we would do vlogs, and then we ended up in drive-in church, and our staff was together the whole time, trying to figure out what is the best way to minister to people. And I am so grateful that that we weren't in it alone. We had a great time together. Do I want to do it again? No. But together we certainly accomplished more. And I am grateful, and I hope you express your gratitude towards your pastors that really have led through unprecedented times. This is new. And I think West Pines has done, for the most part, pretty well. My report, I broke it down a couple months at a time. January, February, preparing for the annual meeting, officers, agenda, budget, deacon development. We went to a Jacksonville conference. That seems so long ago. But January and February were really leadership development and getting the congregation ready for the annual meeting. March, April, general contractors, flooring, painting, property improvements, a lot going on there, and trying to be creative to stay in touch with you through virtual church. Jordan was the master of online communication, and it was really going well, the Zoom, and it was going well, and we'd have staff meetings and they'd have pretty good numbers, and then we'd realize that these pretty good numbers after the first month were okay numbers, and after the second month were numbers, and after people need contact with each other. And we recognized that very quickly, and that's why we were in such a hurry to have in-person church. And before a lot of other places. We missed it. I don't know if you did, but we missed seeing you guys. May and June, we did things like reaching out to our seniors with encouragement bags, and then we did it again and said, this bag isn't for you, but take it to your neighbor, and just tried to encourage people in our church to know that they were loved as well as for them to love on somebody else. I think there were over 50 bags that went out during that time. We had our deacons making phone calls and deacon care groups. Our deacons have done a great job in trying to stay connected with people. We had drive-in church. We had in-person church the end of May. We started out not knowing what was going to happen, and we started out pretty well, and then it kind of went down a little bit. We realized that families weren't coming. So after a couple of weeks, we got Ginger Thinking through children's ministry. That opened up, and I think that has helped us since May, June, to climb in our attendance a little bit. Something else that I have been doing is building plans, and I'll share this even in the financial part of the report. We have got to get our children's ministry out of the east wing of our church. The east wing of our church is the most trafficked and easily accessible part of our church. And with all that's going on in our world today, our children are vulnerable when we have them in our east wing. And we cannot close it off because of the traffic and people coming and going. And so the deacons met and kind of strategized through this thing and said, we've got to do something. And the best way to do it, with the cheapest way to do it, was to move the children's ministry to the west wing. Well, that involves putting in bathrooms, because our children's ministry has bathrooms in the east wing, and it needs to be done. So really over the last couple months, we've been meeting with architects and engineers and builders, and we're moving forward with that. Now, I want you to know, and please listen to this, we are going very slowly because of where we are as a church financially. However, the money to do the project is already in the bank. That money has already been given. It's already been set aside for property development. It's not part of our general fund. But we also know that if you hear me talking about how financially we're not doing great, and then you see a building, it doesn't matter what I'm telling you right now. You're going to go, they say we don't have any money, then why are you building? And that's just, the eye tells us that. And so we probably are going to move forward with the drawings, the architectural things, getting bids, and we're kind of just waiting on seeing where we are financially at the end of September and then at the end of October before we move forward. But again, please know this, that money has already been given, okay? It's already been earmarked for property development. August, we used August. My whole thing when I came back from vacation was we've got to take steps in August to build momentum in September. We've got to take steps now so that when September hits, we are growing, we are ministering to people, and we're taking steps to normalcy. And August, in my mind, has been a great month for that. We have seen more faces, stronger ministries, and we're ready for September. Our fall is typically the busiest season of our year. And I think we're going to be moving forward. Our children, our teens, our young adults, our men's ministry, our women's ministry, our choir ministry, senior ministry, we need to be talking about that. It's the slowest to get going at this point, but I hope that we'll get things going. The building project. A lot happening in August, getting ready for September and October. Moving forward, my priority is people. My priority is to reach those that are on the fringe and encourage them to get back, to get plugged in, to be part of the body at West Pines. Because I know that if they don't, it's not good for their spiritual life. If they're not connected, if they're not here, it's not good for their spiritual life. And then something else that we're working through is the reality of less income. What is our budget going to look like? What is our spending going to look like? All of our spending budget-wise has pretty much been frozen. We just don't do a lot of spending, and that's been a good thing. But it's hard to keep ministry going the way we want to have ministry going without the funds to do that. And so those are some of the things that I'm thinking through, and the pastoral staff is thinking through. Leslie, church treasurer's thinking through, and just the best way to do things. Leslie is going to join us by video and present the financial statements that did y'all get a financial statement? Should be 2 pages, and kind of go through that. Before we do that, anybody have any questions? Things that were said? Go ahead.
What is the function of the East Wing and transfer?
Great question. A big struggle that we have in our adult Bible fellowships is there are people with loud voices like Mike Wells. That if you have a Sunday school class with this divider and this one over here, this class is really in Mike's class too, even though they have their own teacher. That's why, I don't know if he knows, that's why we put him in the other room. But it's just very difficult. Over there, we're going to have individual rooms for our adult Bible fellowships, which is way better, way better. And what the plan over here, we'll have 5 rooms in the West Wing, like we have 5 rooms in the East Wing. So there's going to be some walls put up, real walls, soundproof walls, hopefully. 2 bathrooms added. And so all the rooms will have access to those 2 bathrooms, just like we have over here. And there will also be no doors into the West Wing until you come all the way down the hall. There's going to be the doors, just like there used to be at the women's room out here, that you couldn't get into the East Wing. We're going to put those doors there, so the West Wing will be secure for our children. Most abductions, most things are domestic, and it's oftentimes in the church it's affected by a broken family where mom has custody and dad shows up and gets the kids. And those are things that we have had to navigate through here. We have some special needs kids that we just need things to be safer for them. And it's really impossible to do in the East Wing. West Wing, we're going to be able to do that. Good question. Anybody else? What do we do, Brody? Turn them loose? Okay, everybody get your financials out. Dr. Leslie Turner is in the house. We wanted him to be live, but he's not. But just pretend.
Good evening, West Pines Baptist Church family. Thank you for the opportunity to share this mid-year budget report with you. Before I get into detail on the report, Pastor Paul asked me to say just a few words about budgets in general. Many of you know a lot about budgets and are already familiar with this, but just to make sure we all have a common understanding of why we have a budget and what we do with it, I wanted to just say a few things about that. Obviously, the budget is our church's plans for a year, but expressed in dollars. And it serves 2 important aspects of our operations of our church. And that is planning forward, meaning back in January, we were looking at passing this budget. The budget was our plan for the entire year of what we would spend on things like salaries and admissions and utilities and all the necessities of running the church. And of course, it also was based on what the planned giving was. And we base our budgeted planned giving based on what's happened the last couple of years in giving. So it gives us both that future-looking perspective, but the budget also serves a backward-looking purpose. And that is that we can take what we're spending, like in this example, between January and June, and compare it to what we had originally budgeted, and it helps us see if we're on track. It's just to put it in context, it's much like the way you take a trip in your car. You do some planning ahead of time, and you look forward in your windshield to where you're going. You know when to do certain things to correct for your driving. So that's the looking forward aspect of the budget. But it also helps us look backward, much as you would look in a rearview mirror. And for example, if you saw a car coming up behind you really fast in your lane, you might make a correction and move to the other lane to get out of the way. But you need to know that feedback from what's coming up behind you. So the reason we're looking at the budget is our plan, but then secondly, it helps us to compare back to what we actually spent and collected and whether that matches up with what we expected in the budget. So let's get into the details of our January to June, which I'm hoping you're seeing on the screen in front of you.